river, one with the river, one with the river of life that flows through all walls. One with the river, one with the river of life. Here we go. River flow, river flow, river flow forever. River flow, river flow, river flow forever. I am one with the river, one with the river, one with the river of life that flows through. I am one with the river, one with the river, one with the river of life that. I am one with the river, one with the river, one with the river of life that flows through all. I am one with the river, one with the river, one with the river of life that flows through. River flow, river flow forever. River flow, river flow, river flow forever. Down the river, river flow, river flow, river flow forever. One more time, river flow, river flow, river flow forever.
Everybody, today I'm returning from my vacation, gone a couple of weeks, and so good to be back here in community. I just love this community and love everything that we're doing and being, and great to be here today. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, and want to welcome all of you, both online and here in person. I appreciate you wearing the mask. I think we're over the hump, it looks like, so we're going to be able, I think, be able to allow a little more flexibility in the coming weeks. So thank you for being willing to do that today. I just don't like to make changes on people right in the middle of things, but I think we'll be able to let go of the mask as an optional thing starting next week. So good to have you here, and so good to have Bodhi here this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And he's going to open us up with a little music here.
And George is going to join us. Yes. Do we have the words? She always makes me sound good. We are one with the Spirit of God, and then we're going to go into love, truth, and peace. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of God. Love. We are one in the Spirit of love. We are one in the Spirit of love. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of love. Truth. We are one in the Spirit of truth. We are one in the Spirit of truth. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of truth. Now peace. We are one in the Spirit of peace. We are one in the Spirit of peace. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of peace. One last time. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one in the Spirit of God. We are one, we are one, we are one, we are one, we are one in the Spirit of God.
That in, that we are one in the Spirit. One in the Spirit of God that's right here with us right now. So wonderful. That was so wonderful. So we do want to open up today with just affirming who we are in this moment and who we are in continuing evolution through our vision and mission statement. So if you look up on the screen, you can read with us our vision statement. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious affirmation for us today and always as we continue to open up to what Spirit is seeking to express through us. And I wanted to give you a few announcements before we begin the sacred part of our service. But in talking about this vision that we have, that we want to continue to be open to, we are starting a new visioning group. And it's going to be on Monday evenings. And so if you're interested in that, if you could see me, we'll have an official registration of it next week. We're going to meet once a month, ongoing, to be open to what Spirit's vision is for us, and more specific things for our center to do. So if you're interested in being a part of that, please let me know. And I'll give you some registration information as well on that. So other announcements that are important is yesterday it was a wonderful Crush MS celebration we had at the Rhode Vineyard. It was a beautiful day. It's part of our center's community service to be part of volunteering for this important fundraising. I know there are many fundraisings here in the Valley that are important, and many of you are involved in other ones. We take this one personally because it is our community members that started this particular fund, the Reeds and Julie Hare, Kevin Reed and Julie Hare. And it was just a great celebration, several hundred people out there, and lots of money raised for this important cause to eradicate multiple sclerosis in our lifetime, and some new cutting edge technologies they've talked about that were presented yesterday. It's exciting that this can happen in our lifetime. So excited about that. And then I also want to let you know that we have 2 new classes coming up. It's starting the week of August 23rd, for just in a few weeks. The first one, Georgia Davis is leading on Thursday nights. Do you want to get up and say something about that now?
Well, since you asked. Sure. So we're going to talk about change your thinking and change your life. I mean, it's one of our basic beliefs here at the Center for Spiritual Living is that our thinking changes our life, our experience, just the way that we show up in the world and the way the world shows up with us, because Spirit is working through all of this. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be in person. We're going to, explore what that is for each one of us. So I invite you to come and be with me and be here at the center and have a good time and be in community and learn a little bit more about it.
Georgia. The link to register is it was sent out in the email this morning. It'll also be sent out in weekly emails, or if you're here in the room, you can just do the QR code there to register for it, or talk to Mary or somebody out at our guest table this morning. The other one is the one I'm teaching on Tuesday nights. Both these classes are just 5 weeks long, so they're very short. Both of them are certificated classes, so they go towards being a practitioner classes if you're interested in that, or you just want to take them. It doesn't matter whether you want to be a practitioner or not. So mine is called Mental Equivalence that I'm teaching on Tuesday nights. George's is on Thursday night. Mine is meant to be intermediate or advanced class. In other words, people that have taken a class or been in this community or done other kinds of spiritual work, that it's meant to be not just the foundational class like Georgia is teaching. So it might interest you. It's in person and online, so you can take it from home as well as here in person. It's on a sliding scale. And just like the other one, there's a link there for it, as well as the QR code that is available to you or to talk to Mary afterwards. So, and then we just, our regular things we have going on, meditation on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. It's open to all people. If you want to know, want to get more information about how to meditate, you can come a little early, and whoever the facilitator is that night, they'll be glad to tell you about that and talk to you about spiritual practices or anything, so you can kind of get a sense of what meditation is and the importance of it. And we always are praying for people upon your request. We like to have the invitation to pray for you. So to fill out a prayer request either in the lobby, online, or to visit with a practitioner after our services, all those, and you'll become part of our prayer list that we do every week. And we always enjoy and take great meaning out of being able to pray for people. So please be a part of that. And we're glad to know that we are here on many levels for you. And if you have any concerns or requests, let us know what it is you're seeking, and we'll see if we can help you find those kind of resources in whatever way you need. And anything else that you can have any questions about, feel free to go to our website. It'll have all those questions and answers for you, or call the church office. We're always glad to talk to you. Now we'll begin with the sacred part of our service.
Breathing in that beautiful song, the breath of the one, that one that breathes through all of us. And as there is only one consciousness, one mind, one thing going on, it goes by so many names. The divine, spirit, beloved, Allah, God. So many names, but they can only mean one thing to each person. The one mind which is always listening, the one law that is always giving, the oneness that creates all of nature, all the worlds and the planets, in between every breath and in between in all of the particles and molecules of space, that which is so large it cannot be counted, and that which is so close it can be felt in each breath and each heartbeat. I am one with this one. It is what has brought me to this moment. It is what speaks my word and breathes my breath and beats my heart. This one energy, in and through everything, enlivens me and brings me into the next part of whatever life is, however it goes. As this is the truth of me, this is the truth of not just everyone who hears my voice, all those who feel the impress of it, all those who know it or not. We are each one with this one, because it takes all of us, all of everything, to be this one. And knowing this, I just proclaim that there is nowhere that God, the one, divinity, is doing anything incorrectly. We are all perfectly on time, in our perfect place, doing the perfect thing, whether it is just breathing and making carbon dioxide for the trees to take in, we are doing exactly what we are meant to do, without exception. So knowing this, I proclaim this time together as sacred, remembering that every moment is sacred, but together we come to be and know and remember our divine truth, love. So knowing this is already happening, just fully embodying that in this moment. I know that the law is taking this movement, this moment, this word, and bringing it into fruition easily and effortlessly, just as nature always does. And so I proclaim it as already done, and so it is. Well, good morning. It's always so interesting speaking the prayer on a Sunday morning because I don't want to say anything after that. I feel like it's all been said and felt. But I'll just welcome anyone who's new here, anyone who came to be with us today. My tears are tears of joy. My tears are tears of the everything that can be felt as humans. It took me a long time to understand that. There were times in my life when I could not cry when things were sad. And there were times in my life that I could not rejoice when things were joyful. And now, through our teachings, through learning how to pray, like I just did with you, I learned that every time I would pray and I would really feel it, the tears would just come. Tears of release, tears of joy, tears of fully being in the moment, which sometimes is not always easy. Sometimes it's more pleasant to be distracted. TV and computers and other people's drama and, anything. But to fully live in the moment when we can experience all that is there to feel. Because even in moments that are difficult, there is some seed of joy, some seed of love, because even in the pain of loss, that seed of love is always there. And so that's why I talk about the one, and Reverend Jay will talk more about the one today, but I always think of the one as love. That which can be felt, that which doesn't always mean the same thing for anyone else, that which is it, I think of it as the seed of me, which is where peace resides, which is, so that's why there's so many words for this one, however we're experiencing it. But there's not much more for me to say because I am feeling it all, and I hope you are feeling it all. That we are blessed to be here today, to breathe, to be together, to enjoy this weather. Oh, I'm rhyming on accident. And to be in community, because community is where happiness can come and blossom, where sorrows can come to be lessened, where we can be known and loved. So welcome today. And here's a little Bodhi.
I like to I like to sing inside of the well. Am I on? Can you hear me? It's not here in the microphone. There we go. I like to go to little affirmation pamphlets like the Daily Word and Centers for Spiritual Living has a little book too, and pick out affirmations that I really like and steal them for song titles. So this one's called I Will Greet This Day with Love in My Heart. greatest joy in all the world has stood the test of time. It's proven over and time again, like a melody that rhymes. The power of a simple word can break the clouds apart. I will greet this day with love in my heart. My shield of love protects me now against the angry spears. No matter what forces come my way, nothing I have to fear. When challenged or lost in stormy seas, I know just where to start. And I will greet this day with love in my heart. In the magic of the morning light, the chance to realize that if I vow to live the truth, there's no need to compromise. And I will take a stand right now and listen to my inner voice. In the moment just before I speak, I always have a choice. And because I want my life to be an expression of the highest art, I will greet this day with love in my heart. And I will greet this day with love in my heart. With love in my heart. Thank you, thank you. Reverend Jay.
Thank you so much, Bodhi. I love that. Just setting the tone for love in our hearts today and peace. You're bringing it to us today, Bodhi. Thank you. I appreciate it. There you go, Mount Shasta energy. Well, it's so good to be back. As I mentioned, I had a kind of a whirlwind tour. We went to the East Coast to visit my son and our grandchildren there. Then we went to Philadelphia for a wedding and to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to visit friends. It's their daughter that was getting married that we went to. So it was great to be there and got a little Civil War history there while I was there because the person who we're staying with is a Civil War or American history expert, former professor. So it's great to get that. And then off to the Netherlands to see our other grandchildren there. It was great to see them. It'd been too long since I had been there. And what's interesting is wherever I go, I pay attention to nature, to the wind and the water. And we went to the beaches and to the waterways. And it was just wonderful to experience spirit in all ways and all things as we also were able to spend time with friends and family. So it's wonderful. But I did want to show you a few pictures here. So this is our two grandchildren in Rhode Island. Sadie is in the middle. She's 13 and Vivian is 11. Both of them are very thoughtful people, very considerate and very talkative. So it's fun to connect with them as they get older and developing relationships with them like not adult relationships, but getting to where there's more abstract conversation with them. It's fun. And then our friends in Philadelphia, Steve and Judy, and like I said, we got to meet Abraham Lincoln in a different way. So more admiration for his role in bringing the United States back together as one, which is such a critical role and almost didn't happen in many ways. And then off to the Netherlands, extended family there with our kids, with Olivia, Theo, Bella and the newest one, Odin, who I met as a baby, but I hadn't been back to see for 3 years. So it's good to see him. He's kind of a pistol, but often the youngest one is. So it was good to see them and all things that they were doing. The things I learned in the Netherlands while I was there is, first of all, people both in Pennsylvania and in the Netherlands kept apologizing for rain. And you don't need to apologize from people who are in a drought for rain. It was a blessed thing. I just stood out in it, and it was beautiful. But what also people in the Netherlands say is there's no such thing as bad weather. There's only bad clothes for the weather. So I think people in Seattle often say that too. So also what's important about the Netherlands is there's no to-go coffee. Now there's coffee, but you sit down and you have a cup and you drink it. And there's even conversation happening while you're drinking coffee. It's this amazing thing that we don't do around here. Well, we do it sometimes after church, but other than that, there's no Starbucks to get it to go kind of thing. And also in Amsterdam, it's not about the street you live on. It's about the canal you live on. There's a whole network of canals through Amsterdam, actually through the whole country, but it's more especially in Amsterdam. And those houses that are along the canal were not, in the olden days, they were taxed by how many windows there were. So it was interesting, and now it's a little different, but there are also some houses there that because the piers are in water, that they actually lean, they're tilting, and they're only standing because of the buildings next to them. So it's a little different than it takes a village kind of concept. It takes a village to keep your house from falling over, I guess. And what I really appreciate about the Netherlands is there is just no sense of labels of orientations or gender identification or types of relationships, not because it's so liberal that it's not important. It's just accepted as is. No one needs to identify in a certain way to be accepted or to identify who they are. It's just all is accepted. And it's a real openness to new ideas there. And I really think that that's the nature that I wanted, inspired me, and I hope it inspires us to think about ways for newness to come into our lives without being attached to the old ways, because change is a part of life, and it's how we respond to it is the important thing, and how we can continue to open up to life about spirit within us and about this oneness that we experience. This month we've been talking about better together. And as I visited friends and families, and as I come back to this community, I'm really aware that we really are better together. And coming out of this post-pandemic time, many of us were isolated for a while, and now it's rediscovering this idea of community and how important people are to us, that we are social creatures, and how it's important for us. And today we're talking about the one and only. And the nature of this is that if all pathways lead to one and all is one, then that one is within us, the one and only, because there's only God, there's only Spirit, there's only this oneness. And so within each of us is this one and only, and collectively we are one and only. When I say the one and only, I don't mean that we have a monopoly on the spiritual tools that are available to all. I just mean the whole world is one. And there is only one. That we're each one and we're all one. I just love this. I kept thinking about this concept as Michelle and I, as part of what we did there in Amsterdam, is we took a boat tour through these canals that you see here. And this is a rather famous one. It's called the Seven Bridges, which means, as you can see through this, the one bridge, there's another bridge, there's another bridge. At each area, there's a canal coming out that goes sideways. That's why the bridge is there. And so there's a whole neural pathway of canals in the Netherlands, particularly in Amsterdam, as I mentioned. And we took this open boat tour that was a small group of people, only about 10 people, and the boat tour guide was just talking to us one-on-one, just to our group, not through a microphone or anything. It was great to hear him talk about all these different facets of why the canal's there. They originally were for defense against other ships coming in, as well as transportation. And Amsterdam began to, in the 17th and 18th and even into the 19th century, were sort of a shipping mecca, because ships could come there from all over the world, and they could be distributed through these canals in Amsterdam, which became for shoppers from all over the world. Or their canal system would take it even further, would get to the rivers through Germany, through Austria, through Belgium and France, so it could distribute all these things. And so the Netherlands became quite prosperous because of this canal system. Now today, it's still a shipping magnet, but those ships are taking things now, the products are going by trucks and trains. But the same kind of international feel, because of their canal system, is still there now, because the canals bring in tourists from all over the world. While Michelle and I were there, we heard dozens and dozens of languages spoken. Some we weren't even sure what they were. Some we could hear enough words to understand, kind of the basic of it. But it's just a beautiful thing, and the feeling of the deeper connection. And while we were on this boat tour, I just had this deeper sense of oneness. Like the canals is spread on a way in all ways. It was almost like a feeling like it was my body that has all these neural and circulatory systems that I have. And also the connection of the oneness, because the way Amsterdam spread out internationally in so many ways, that it was the connecting neural pathways. And I know our neural pathways, our consciousness, are also connecting with each and every person. So I just had this deep sense of oneness as we went through this canal system and this boat tour. And the rest of the trip, I was just feeling this deeper connection. When I first came to the Netherlands, because I speak a different language, I speak Dutch, I was a little bit hesitant. I'm not usually hesitant in social situations. I was a little resistant, a little concerned about me being able to communicate in the way I would like to. And so I would say very little, but I soon learned that there people are quite, I felt bad. I felt almost some shame around not being able to speak their language and having to resort to English. But the truth is, they speak English as their second language. They're some of the most English proficient people in the world because they teach it in the school. So they just want to know what language I teach. So it became, and once with this deeper sense of oneness, I'm going, why am I holding back? Why can't I be open in this deeper connection? And when we talk about the one and only and about these relationships, we're better together, I hesitate sometimes, even when I'm in English, even when I'm here in my comfort. It's not that I have to keep saying things, keep talking. Sometimes I can be present with a person by saying nothing at all. So the rest of this trip and what I've come back with is this deeper sense of oneness, this deeper truth that's within me. The other thing I found fascinating about our tour is that there are locks here. I don't know if there's the buildings that lean. Can you believe that? I mean, they lean significantly, right? But there's, I don't have a picture of it, but there are the old system to keep out the seawater, because basically Netherlands is at sea level or below a lot of it. So that's why they have this canal system also, as water management. And they had a system of locks or water gates that would keep the water out. Well, they don't have to do that anymore because they have electric pumping systems and ways to gauge it. But now they're using those old lock systems, those old water gates, to keep the water circulating, to keep it fresh, to keep it vital, because there was a period of time those canals had become stagnant and stinky and nobody really wanted to live near them. But I was thinking about my own life, how, in my body system and in my consciousness, how to keep the lock system, to keep the gates open, to keep my heart open, to keep things refreshed and vitalized and new, and not be in the stagnant and stinky thinking that I might have, rigid thinking about judgments I have about certain people or certain things, and how important that is just to keep fresh in what we do. What I know is the relationships we have, whether they be friends or family or community, is divine in nature, because we have this divine within us. The divine is all around us. So that which is evolving in us evolves in relationships with others. We don't have to do anything to create divine relationships. They're divine by us simply being divine, which we are. And our task is to keep those gates moving forward, to keep things fresh, to let go of any awareness we have around grudges or bitterness or righteous indignation, covert narcissism, people-pleasing, passive-aggressive, jealousy, anything that would stand in our way of openness, of allowing. Rumi, the great Persian poet, said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within ourselves that we have built against it." Because love is our natural beingness. Connection, social relationship is natural for us. So we just let it open and be connected and keep it fresh. And sometimes we need to lean against our friends. We need to open up and ask for what we need. The other thing I thought was interesting about my trip was noticing that all people seek freedom, seek liberation. And I think it's spirit within us that seeks to express, guide us, encourage us to be free, free of any limitations in our mind, our body, anything that holds us back in that way. But it's always interesting that this idea of liberty, as I heard people in the Netherlands talk about it, it's not just our country that's struggling with what liberty means right now. There have the government in the Netherlands is wanting to put some of their farmland and develop it because they have too much production of agriculture, and it's producing pollution through tractors, through methane, through the cattle production. So they want to have some farmers not farm, but the farmers want to keep farming, and so they're going through trying to force farmers to sell their land, and there's a lot of protest about that. And so what they're doing is the farmers are taking their tractors and blocking highways and different things as part of a protest. So it's very interesting. So, what they're saying is they should have the right to their own vocation. And even though the government is compensating them for them, they want to continue to they want the right to be a farmer still. So it's an interesting thing. And yet the government is saying there's a freedom that we can all experience with a better environment. So in our own country talks about liberty and what, in terms of our access to guns, our women's access to their own bodies, their own reproductive rights. And so we're talking about that and what's good for all people. I tend to go for the liberty of all people, and knowing that Spirit leads us to this freedom that opens up in us in greater ways, that we can be guided towards what is the highest and best for us, and creating a world that works for everyone, not just a few people. I think this applies to gun rights probably more than anything, because there's so many kids right now, or even us as adults in our regular lives, that don't feel safe because of the automatic weapons that we've talked about. I'm not for getting rid of all our weapons, but I like to consider the banning of certain kinds of assault weapons so that we can all feel free to be who we are without any restriction on that. And that's an example of where some people think their liberty might be affected, but I think that's a very individual liberty. And what the problem that the Dutch government has right now is they're trying to force it. And I think that we always need to negotiate, we always need to communicate how we can agree that we all want something that works for everyone and find the way that works. When I was in the airport coming back from Europe, my flight, by the time it landed and by the time I went through customs, was really a narrow window, and I really wanted to catch my plane. I was in Seattle, and I needed to catch my plane, get back to San Francisco, and by the time I went through customs, which was this long ordeal, Seattle has this new system, and it was really a lot of walking, and I had to recheck my bag before I got on the plane. And when I got there, I got to the check-in counter, I was a little bit frazzled. And I was talking to the agent there, and she said, "I'm not sure if your bag's going to make it." I go, well, okay, try your best. And she goes, and we won't bring it to you. And then I just, what do you mean you won't bring it to me? I just started spiraling out because I was already anxious about getting on my plane. And I just go, whoa. What are you doing? This person has nothing to do whether my bag gets there on time or not. And I was in a state of panic and worry. And so what if my bag didn't get there? So what if I had to go pick it up? What really mattered right here is this person was really helping me. They were in service to me and my situation, and I needed to bring it down and be present and notice. My own wishes is I had wished I'd noticed it about 10 seconds before that, but I did notice it. So I did apologize and came back to center and got my bag checked and kind of walked quickly with my carry-on bags and got to the gate where my plane was, and it had been delayed. And part of me is going, "Oh, I created that, didn't I?" It was delayed quite a bit, and I actually looked out the window and saw my bag going up the conveyor belt into the plane, so all is good, right? But we just get so carried away with things sometimes that, that we has to be this, it has to be that. And we just open up to the moment and connecting with the people that we're with, which is the most important thing. Letting the love flow, letting this be. What I know is that Spirit guides us. In all ways, Spirit guides us, and we act with the best of our abilities at the level we're at. Part of me was thinking about this a lot because here we visited with 2 grandchildren on the East Coast, 4 in the Netherlands, and they were ranging from the age of 3 to 13. So obviously, developmentally, they were all over the place. And especially the 3-year-old wants to do everything the older kids do, but can't do it. And playgrounds and situations are set up that there's different levels. So there's things that he can do, but they're at his level. So this is, I think. So it's an area of a playground that's just for him, that he's having fun with, and he can do that. And I think it's not that. One time I was at a conservative church, and when I was in ministerial school, they wanted us to go to different kinds of churches. It's been a while since I've been in a fundamental church, probably 30 years when I went to this one. And the minister is a good speaker, Bible-based, but I really had a problem with him saying that God is always setting a bar for us that we can't meet. He compared it to the way his son, when he was with his son, he would get his son to try and jump to a certain area, and he'd put a chalk line or a rope there. And once his son was able to jump that, he'd move the line back a little bit. So his son was always seeking to improve himself. And I understand that. That's you want that in your development, just like setting things. But he said God does this. His opinion is God does this to us. And we never measure up to God. I almost stood up right in the middle of the church, said, hold on. I didn't do that, but I wanted to, because I don't think that's the way God works at all. I don't think we are a puppet for the strings that God pulls. And I think we're always perfect, whole, and complete in the eyes of Spirit. Always. We have this impulse within us as humans, as consciousness, as mindful, to try new things. And God guides us, empowers us, loves us right where we are, whether we succeed or not. But we are the body of Spirit. We are the action of Spirit, the expression of Spirit. God needs us to act in the world, to be this conscious love out in the world. I remember there was a time in my life when I was struggling with all sorts of things in my life. It was always a period of time only time in my life that I had a long period of depression. I was just really struggling. But the good thing is that I went more into prayer during that time. And I had a clear message from Spirit, a clear guidance about something to do. And it was also clear to me that I couldn't do it. I wasn't ready to do what I was being guided to do. And in this deep relationship I had with Spirit said, okay. I go, what? Don't I have to do? Isn't lightning supposed to strike me when I say no? No. If you're not ready for this, this is what I want you to do. And I did that. And I was able to do that. I was able to do it fully, completely, and wholly, and knowing that Spirit loved me no matter what. That I am His expression. And because I was willing to do that and surrender and be open, it allowed me to continue to be in this relationship with Spirit. That allowed me to continue to open up in other ways to Spirit later. That I went way beyond what was being asked of me at that time. It didn't, unlike stories you hear that when we're disobedient, things happen like floods and stuff like that. It was not that case at all. It was me opening up to Spirit in the way that I was able to do it, that I was able to be. Robert Frost says, we dance around in a ring and suppose, but the secret sits in the middle and knows. We're right in the middle of all of life. There's a great Hindu story about Brahma, which is their word for the ultimate God, sitting with a council of other gods, because at one time humans were divine, and they had been abusing what it meant to be divine. And so this council of gods and Brahma wanted to hide their divinity from them. And the council of God said, let's put it on the highest mountain. And Brahma goes, no, people will climb to the mountain to find it. Well, let's put it in the depth of the ocean. And Brahma said, no, they'll swim to the bottoms, to the depths, and find it there. And they kept trying to find places. And Brahma finally said, I know where we'll put it. We'll put it deep within themselves. They may look there, but they'll never discover it until they're willing to surrender, until they're willing to let go and be. And so that's where Spirit did. And humans continued to climb and swim and dive. And they don't find it unless we're willing to go within and surrender completely and find this truth. And in this truth, we know that what we seek to do is to evolve our love, to let our love evolve. Let a newness come before us that is deeper and more profound in our relationships. The older granddaughter, her name is Sadie. This was a professional article done about her and her school that does a big farm. And it's amazing that she's the one on the left and they're farming. But the school has this farm, and she does work with them during the summer when there's no school, because she sees such a deeper connection with nature. That all the students during the year are doing math and science experiments with the garden, and they're with the farm. It's not a garden, right? It's a full farm that produces food for those who work it, the students, for soup kitchens, for other kinds of donations. They even sell some of it. But all of them are finding this deep connection to nature, with life itself, the importance of the soil and compost and different things like that. And this is at their level. This is at the level she is, and we're all being asked to deepen at the level we are, what Spirit is guiding us to do. There's Porch Fest is today, and there's a band there. I haven't heard them yet, but I heard a little bit of them online because I was fascinated by their name, Not Dead Yet. You can see pictures of them. They're getting up there in age, but they're not dead yet, right? Some of us wonder, just waiting to be, someday I'm going to die. Well, let me tell you, you're not dead yet, right? So you've got plenty of momentum and life and vitality, and let Spirit use that. Let Spirit be this life force that's within you. One thing I know about love, I love this acronym, is let others voluntarily evolve. Let's not get caught up in where we think other people are or where we think we should be. Let ourselves evolve. Let this acronym of letting love be and letting this consciousness be the truth of who we are. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book called The Tipping Point, talked about little things can make significant change because of everything else being done before that. We don't have to do big things. We can just be kind and considerate and mindful. Keep those gates moving in our bodies and doing what we can. And this consciousness we do together of evolution, of love, of peace, does make a difference. Because what I know is that thoughts matter, actions matter, words matter, you matter, we matter. That which we do in our everyday relationships, our everyday way, do make a difference. And guess what? You're not dead yet. And in fact, you are alive and powerful beyond your greatest imagination. And Spirit wants to guide you to open up. The things that you're able to do, it's at your level, at your willingness, at your abilities. So let's continue to open up into this oneness, into this life, because we are better together. Let us go to prayer. What I know in this moment is there is only one. As we can imagine the entire world, the entire universe connected with neural pathways, energy pathways that connects our energy within our body to the rest of all life on this planet and beyond. And as we just allow ourselves to know this oneness, we know that this is a benevolent universe. And we just allow Spirit to use us to bring greater love, greater joy, greater peace to this planet, now and always. And so it is.
darkness comes over you, and the struggle has blocked your view, and all your people are far away, and your life feels like a masquerade. You got to follow the call. You got to follow the call. And every answer is usually hidden inside a question, often forbidden. Seek direction from the wind. Trust your nature, oh, and look within. You got to follow the call. You got to follow the call. You've got to follow the call. You got to follow the call. You got to follow the call. You got to follow the call. Oh, when darkness comes over you, and the struggle has blocked your view, seek direction from the wind. Trust your nature and look within. You got to follow the call. You got to follow the call.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. I mentioned that it's great to have everybody here today. I don't think I did official welcome. I think Georgia did, if anybody who might be here for the first time. So glad to have you here as well as online. If you're online with us for the first time, you can put your name in the chat box, and we'll be glad to welcome you as well. This is the time in our service when we invite you to participate in the law of circulation. What I know is that which you give to the center helps support our vision and mission to create a world that works for everyone, to continue to provide programs, and we appreciate your financial contributions. We know that which you give continues to develop a circulation of giving and receiving in all ways in your life, so we do appreciate it. There'll be baskets up front and in the back if you want to come and physically do that. There's also many different ways to give, including online, texting, making checks and send them in, or you can give your financial contributions today. We certainly appreciate it. And we have a sharing of abundance blessing. If you bring to your heart, if you're giving of love today or giving of financial abundance, or perhaps consider the gift you've already given us previously, you can simply do this affirmation with us to say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. Try that. God is the source of who I am. Dream. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. Yeah. Use me, Lord.
Praise the Lord. Thank you for all your support of this community by just being here today and being present, and for all the contributions you give to us, and you are blessed. We do want to acknowledge those people who might be here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a gift for you and a blessing for you. So if you're here for the first time, if you're willing to raise your hand. Okay. So I guess everybody's returning. If we happen to miss you or you're a little shy your first time here, there's be the gift for you at the welcome table. We also have ways that you can connect to our weekly newsletter if you're interested in doing that. And we have a blessing for everybody here today. So we just raise our hands and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. Let's all stand for the community affirmation and closing song. So repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. I am led by Spirit. I am guided by wisdom. I am protected by love. I am here to be a blessing. I am so grateful. And so it is.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. So if you're feeling discouraged, just trying to make it through another day. Let it all go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God.
Yes, I'm
Only for God.
Georgia.
And Bodhi.
So as we go forward, let's evolve this love and be all that we can be. And so it is.
So
Have a great Sunday. Thank you for being here.